What's up? My name's Nikhil, and I'm here with McKinley Dixon.
Hello, I'm McKinley Dixon.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Super good. Yeah, it took us a while to find this spot, but we're here. It's South by Southwest. This is my first time. How many times have you been here?
It's my second time.
It's your second time?
Indeed.
Okay, and you said, we were talking a little bit getting here, it's just different. It's different because it's a lot more relaxed for you. Are there any other ways it's changed from your first time to now your second time?
Now that I'm sort of in the midst of like releasing a record, the resources allotted to me are way different. You know, before I did South by Southwest on my own, you know, which is sort of booking whatever showcase I can, whatever friends are there, you know what I mean? And with that comes like being out of the city, not having a hotel, not being able to even know what is possible within the confines of Austin. So now I just, I'm able to do much more, I have more autonomy in a way, while sort of not, you know?
Yeah. Were you kind of roughing it the first time around? I know,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. It was wild. First time I did South by Southwest, it was a crazy time. Yeah, nobody was at the shows. I was like 30 minutes away from the city. Whew, yeah, but here we are.
Cool. Very cool. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you're a Virginia-based artist, or you went to school in Virginia as well?
I did.
That's super cool. What do you study?
I actually studied animation.
That's cool.
Yeah,
That's
thanks.
really cool.
Yeah,
And I've noticed that even, I was digging around back in your Instagram, you played with the jazz orchestra in like 2016.
yeah.
How'd that come about? That's
cool.
really cool.
That was, honestly, I've always had the mindset of sort of making music with instruments, you know, and I think that specific thing for my college was just to show all of the other people that actual play instruments, like, this is what I'm about and I'm serious.
Yeah.
So at some point in time, we should all get back together and make this for my music and not for like the school, you know?
Yeah, and I think that's what's really unique about your music right now is that instrumentation focus. I mean, you have some really rich stuff.
Thank you.
Just listen to Run, Run, Run when I came out earlier. That's cool. I mean, like, just the concept of that, because the music is happy. The musicality is happy, but the lyrics don't really match that.
Yeah.
Right? You want to talk more about that?
Honestly, that one was mainly just like the producer of the song, Sam Koff, sent me this beat that had these keys, and it wasn't finished yet, but it just felt so upbeat that I was like, you know, what if we just juxtapose these sounds with these lyrics? And that will sort of give it sort of this complexity instead of just being like a song that is so bright, you know? So I think that one worked out because of the mindset that I was in. You know?
Yeah. It's really cool.
Thank
and
you.
Just digging through your whole discography, I saw things like Anansi,
Yeah.
which is like African folklore.
Yes.
And so what's the message behind something like that too? Like, do you always kind of how do you come up with these concepts?
With Anansi, and mostly actually a lot of my work, it really is me trying to be the best storyteller. You know, like the best purveyor of love, the best purveyor of like longing and things like that. And really just to show how even in the beauty of it, there is harrowing, and that does not necessarily mean they're two extremes. It just means that they're both the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Thanks.
So we can talk about so many different things. I mean, your experience here at South by Music, you're also very vocal about the Black experience, and that's something I really want to talk to you about.
Oh, yeah.
Because not a lot of artists are doing that. Not a lot of Black artists are doing that because it's not easy, especially if you're an artist, seen as a commodity, as you've talked about before. Just now, do you see any change in that? Do you see more artists kind of talking out? How do you encourage people to talk out more?
Definitely. I think with my music, people sort of see me as like, this is a more educational way, you know? But to me, all of these artists, especially all Black artists that make rap music, while we are not sort of in the same alignment as they are, I do view all of them as sort of speaking about their vulnerabilities and their truths. I mean, albeit there's different extremes of it, you know what I mean? Like Drake is talking about what Drake's talking about, but that does not really neglect the fact that that is still his life, you know what I mean? It's just a different life than lives, say, like me, you know? And I think vulnerability in rap music is now slowly making its way to the front, but it's hard because rap music is such a bravado genre, you know what I mean? Especially the men, you know? And I think it's just hard to get through that when you also are surrounded by a world that is not trying to hear you.
Right.
It's hard.
Yeah. But more people are trying, like you just said, to have that sensitivity and emotion in Black music today, and I think that's something that's really cool.
Yeah.
And your new release that's coming in June 2nd.
June 2nd.
June 2nd. What are some themes that we can expect to come from that?
Honestly, so...
Or can you tell us?
Yeah, definitely. So a lot of I made the trilogy, which is Who Taught You, The Importance of Inform My Mama, and those ones sort of were me chronicling the life that I saw in front of me, you know?
Yeah.
The Who Taught You to Hate Yourself is about a black boy. The Importance of Self-Belief is about this black boy who's sort of seeing that there's women and femme people at the forefront of this culture. And then For My Mama and anyone who like her is sort of me analyzing that there's like black queer, black trans, black women behind everything, you know? So with this one, it's sort of after this story, and now that I've learned all of this, it becomes, now where do I want to go? And that's pretty much the whole album, is like, what is next?
Mm-hmm. Why do you think it's important for music to understand its history?
I think that a lot of music lies in black culture. And I think if you don't understand the history of most music, then you're not going to really understand, like, the trajectory. You know, I think that my music is really special because I'm able to sort of see the trajectory of where it goes. You know, For My Mama took 3 years to make. So I could have released it whenever. But because I had the language from the books I read and the stories and the history I knew, I was sort of like, no, I know that there's a culture that can sort of benefit from this later on, you know?
Yeah. What were some of the feelings you had after putting out even things like Who Taught You to Hate Yourself? I mean, that's what people mostly really know you for right now. Did you ever have any backlash from people with your messages?
Not really. I think that it was more so, I mean, I guess because I was working mainly with instruments, I was sort of being put on bills with like rock music, which then sort of led me to be alienated by rap, you know, and rap is still coming around, you know what I mean? I think that I have a strong community in DIY, which incorporates rap, but it is not rap music.
Yeah,
you know?
Because I've seen in other interviews you kind of didn't really call yourself a rapper, and I'm wondering what do you call yourself now?
Oh, a rapper. I love rapping. Yeah, rap is dope.
And what
Best
triggered
genre.
that switch?
Honestly, understanding internalized anti-blackness, definitely seeing and being like, well, why do I hate being called a rapper? And it's like, oh, because I've been taught that rap is lesser of a genre. When in actuality, rap is the most straightforward genre you can have. You know, it's the closest to poetry, and it's the closest to the streets. And like not many other genres sort of do that intersection as well as rap. So now, I love being called a rapper.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you more about just like genre and relationships between different things, because I don't think you should be put in one, but I can't put you in a genre, and I wanted to just kind of ask you what's so powerful about that, like being genreless. What does the word genre mean to you right now?
The power in it is really privilege because not being locked into a genre allows me to be in a bunch of genres, you know, and that's really great. I think that it also sort of allows me to not be accepted into my community of rap music, you know, because that's such a homogenous community,
right.
You know? But to me, the genre is not rap, it's not rock, it's not jazz, it's black, you know what I mean? Because black music encompasses all of those things that I try to encompass.
But on the flip side, I do know that many black artists today are put in the category of urban, especially when receiving awards.
Definitely.
And how do you feel about that?
I think that's very complicated. I think that seeking external validation from an awards committee is hard, but it is justified. Criticizing those committees can also happen while trying to receive those accolades. So I'm of the mindset that you can change yourself first, and then from there you can sort of change everything else. Just bring more people later.
Yeah, that's dope.
Thanks. Thanks.
On a lighter note, I want to talk to you more about music right now. What are you listening to right now? What's kind of inspiring you?
Shit, I've been listening to the new Pierce the Veil record.
Yeah.
Shit's dope. The Used dropped something. What else I've been listening to? ESTG, 42 Doug, I really fuck with them. Mm-hmm. I just heard that Remy Wolf album for the first time. Yeah. She's cool. I don't know what she's talking about.
Here.
She is here. I saw that she was here. I didn't see her, but yeah, I really like that record. Mainly just like, I really go back between like current rap and like 2009 pop punk, you know, just because both of those genres to me sort of like encapsulate an experience that I had. You know?
Yeah. What's your relationship with pop punk?
I love pop punk. For me, the three big records of my life were in 2010, where it was Kanye West, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasies, Anais Mitchell's did Hades Town, and Pierce the Veil dropped Selfish Machines. So those are like my
that was
three.
Your year.
That was my year. It was a big year for me. Big year in 10th grade, whatever, you know, for me, you know what I mean? So I think pop punk was just sort of this thing where I could just see people screaming, you know, and it could be all races, you know, because punk sort of had this in Virginia. Punk is sort of this in the '80s. It was very like white supremacists, you know what I mean? It was them viewing and talking about what they're feeling, which I don't agree, you know, whatever. But pop punk is sort of this thing where it was kids that came up after, you know, like Pierce the Veil is like all brown kids, you know, and I think that's something that I saw, even though I didn't really have the words for it when I was listening to it younger, you know?
Yeah. What do you think about the stigma that's especially in the black community when it comes to listening to music outside of more traditional, I guess more accepted genres? Like, you know what I mean, like R&B and hip hop. But there are black metalheads out there, and and you love pop punk. I love pop punk. I love
Pop punk's
stuff
awesome.
like that.
Yeah.
But there's always the kind of stigma like being weird for liking
Definitely.
that kind of music.
Definitely.
Why do you think that is?
I think that it's because a lot of kids are told what to think. You know, I think growing up, I also dealt with the internalized anti-blackness, you know, because you really don't know where you stand, especially if you are from more than one walk of life. And I think the thing is, people view black people as homogenous.
Right.
You know, people view black people as you're either from this neighborhood or you're from this neighborhood. And not understanding that both of these neighborhoods can have things that coexist while also having things that are super extreme. You know what I mean? I think people think being from like the hood means that you're always on, you're always doing this. When in actuality, a lot of the times cats are just playing video games, you know, and it's the circumstances that place them there, you know, it's not really the actions that they do. So I think that because we've been sort of told what blackness is from a white audience, we sort of take it in slowly over time if we don't work to unlearn it.
Yeah, especially things like hypermasculinity.
Easy, definitely. Shit is whack. Yeah, it's really, really crazy, especially because it's dangerous. You know, I think a lot of black men would love to say that they do not have the space, but you only really don't have the space if you're comparing yourselves to whiteness. Because a lot of black men do have the space to grieve, especially on the backs of black women, black queer folks, black trans people. You know what I mean? So I think it's all about your perspective and unlearning a lot of things.
Yeah. If you were to pick an instrument, just think of an instrument right now. If you were to pick an instrument, what kind of sounds like your soul right now?
I really love the harp. I have a lot of harp on my records. I think that it's just an instrument that can talk really well. You know, I like when the instruments talk. I think the saxophone, the flute, but the harp is one that it's like, it's so wide and it's so beautiful all the time, even if it's not beautiful, you know?
That's cool.
No, thanks. Yeah.
So I noticed the bright colored shirt you have going on there. It's dope. Are you like into fashion? And the shirt's cool too. I don't mind if you flex that.
Oh, yeah.
But are you a huge fashion kind of person? Are you trying to get more?
Oh, not at all.
Not at all.
I will wear all black. It's just easy. You know what I mean? It's like I got like my Dickies, comfortable.
I get that more than anything. I'm not.
It's easy. This is easy. You know, I think I have sort of this like, I know it works for me. You know, this I'm working on it. You know, I'm branching out, but it also comes with like having more money. You know, because you can get a black shirt anywhere, but you get shit like this. You kind of got to search out. You got to have the time to figure out what it is, figure out what looks good on you, you know.
So that leads me to my next question, like kind of creating yourself as a brand. A lot of people are kind of like, if they know your name, like, oh yeah, I know McKinley Dixon, but like it's like a cool kind of like underground thing. But you are on the up and up. So are there any things you're kind of doing to establish your brand and like presence kind of online right now?
I think the thing for me is because I was so heavily in DIY, I sort of fortified a community a long time ago, you know, whereas now I don't really need to make a brand because my music sort of speaks for me, you know, and I think the implication that when you hear my name, you sort of hear instruments is a good one.
I think that's cool. Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with that.
Yeah, right?
I think embracing instruments into like just like genreless music or more just like rap on top of it is great. I always love it when rappers have a band behind them.
Exactly.
It's never been a bad thing.
Exactly.
Are there any kind of genre is such a weird word to use in this interview, but are there any aspects of music you want to explore that you haven't already?
Definitely punk music. I think punk music and things of that are very closely to rap, and it's honestly will just take me one EP to sort of be like, all right, I think I can do one record like this, you know what I mean? And the thing is, like, you never have to get locked down, and that's like the beauty of it, you know, especially before you get too big. You know, right now I can do whatever I want, which is like really nice musically, you know?
Yeah. How would you pitch yourself to somebody who's never heard your music before?
I wouldn't. They'll hear it eventually.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah, thanks. That was a good one. I felt good with that one.
So what does the rest of your South by look like for you just going forward this week?
We got one show tonight at Citrus City, New Good Co-op. I go on at 8, but everybody is really, really great. A lot of people from Richmond are on that showcase. But besides that, fly out tomorrow morning to finish this tour. I'm on tour with Tank and the Bangers currently right now.
Cool.
So we're just here for a couple of days, and then I go back out tomorrow.
Yeah. And as we wrap up here, it's been an absolute great interview.
Thanks. Yeah, you're doing a great job.
Is there anything kind of coming up that you want to give a quick shout out to, or maybe the Radio K audience back in Minnesota?
Yeah, shouts out to the Radio K audience back in Minnesota. I don't know, is it like a station or like...
Yeah, it's a radio station.
No, I mean, like, is it like 91? I don't know, like 313?
You just say 770.
770 Radio K. That's what I'm shouting out. Don't listen. My record, don't worry about that. June 2nd.
Awesome. Otherwise, that's all I pretty much had for you.
Thank
Don't
you.
want to take up too much of your time. This is Radio K. This is Nikhil, and this is McKinley Dixon.